John Machado with The Athletic. With George Pickens, has there been any moments out on the field where maybe there's something that he did that stood out to you where you're like, damn, like maybe one-handed catch?
That was my colleague, John Machado, asking Brian Schottenheimer, is there anything that George Pickens has done to kind of make you say, wow? It's kind of also crazy to say that John Machado is now somebody not just that I bring on the show, he's actually a friend. Wow, because even after the show today, we were talking for like 20 minutes just talking about life. Anyway, George Pickens, ladies and gentlemen, has he done anything crazy?
I think, number one, he's doing an incredible job picking up the system. I talked about his intentionality last week, I believe, just how hard he's working. But there was a play, and it really wasn't anything George did. But we're in the red zone, and we're in kind of a spread formation. We hit him for a touchdown. Joe did on a little a bender, like a little skinny post, down in the low red zone. And CD was on the other side. And when CD broke out and he looked back to see where the ball went and he saw George in the end zone, he kind of dragged his toes up. CD was like, yes! So I think his excitement for knowing that we've added some pieces which will add to the competition, it was cool to see a guy like CD be excited. And those two guys' relationship is awesome. I'm sure you guys have probably done stories on it, but they're spending a lot of time together. I think it's great for CD to have someone like George, not that George is a young player, but someone that GP really looks up to in CD. They obviously have trained some together, but that relationship's really cool. And I'm enjoying kind of just sitting back and watching it develop, and the two of them getting together and spending time with Junior Adams. And it's been really cool and fun for me to watch just how it all is beginning to fit together.
Now, I got to say, Brian Schottenheimer's press conferences just keep getting better and better. But let's be real. Was it on anybody's bingo card that Joe Milton would be throwing touchdowns to George Pickens in a Dallas Cowboys uniform in 2025 at any time? Did anybody think that in life? What if it happens during the regular season? Anyway, just hearing that, this is how I felt.
And let me tell you, I've been taken up to the third heaven. I've been jacked into the big plan. I've seen it. I can't even compute all of it. It's so fantastical. You've not seen nothing. You ain't heard nothing. You ain't smelled nothing like this. I don't have words to tell you. But I tell you, anybody tries to get in the way of the incredible plan the big guy's got for us has got me pissed, and I'm just begging to stay on the team, man. Just put me in the game, Coach. Whatever you say, Coach. I know I'm weak. I know I'm pathetic. Man, you're amazing. I'm so lucky you, baby. What do I do, Bob? Like a hunting dog, man. Just take me out of the house. Just turn me on them. Just tell me what I got to do. Tell me how I serve you. Tell me what I can do for you right now. Woo!
All right, y'all. Enough fun. Let's get to 10 takeaways from OTAs. I'm taking it back. You guys know this is my bag. 10 takeaways from the week, the second week, phase 3 of OTAs. They can do a little bit more. 10 takeaways. Let's go. So, number 1, guys, Joe Milton, CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, the whole 9, Dak Prescott, George Pickens. The George Pickens experiment, so far so good. Everything has been positive. Like even him being next to Dak in the locker room, it was strategic. It's positive. And everything that I've heard on and off the record is that Pickens is really just a cool guy to himself. And I'll be honest with you, like I said on the Cowboys Collective today, I don't think that Pickens is a bad player. I think that he is very emotional. And emotional, that's not a bad thing. I think he's very passionate. I think that that's what you'll see if you see him getting the skirmishes or if you see him doing goofy stuff after the play. But I will say this, you don't want to take that away from George Pickens because that's what makes him who he is. I'm just happy to see that him and CeeDee Lamb are on the same page. Apparently, CeeDee had a drop today. CeeDee went over there after his drop, did some push-ups. Guess who did the push-ups with him? George Pickens. They really have a tight bond. They really have a close bond. So far, so good on the George Pickens front, and I'm happy to see that. And listen, I want to reiterate that this is phase 3 of OTA, so there's no contact, there's no none of that. But I gotta say, I am very pleased to hear about Tyler and Tyler. And I want to set this up. This is number 2 and number 3. Both Tylers are standing out, and the fact that Brian Schottenheimer went out his way to talk about Tyler Guyton when he didn't have to. Okay, he was talking about Tyler Booker and how detailed Tyler Booker's been. Even when he's going through drill work, you know, he wants the GA. I call them GAs, but basically they're out at camp or they're out at OTAs holding the pads. He wants them to hold it a certain way. Like Tyler Booker wants them to hold it a certain way. So everything is looking up on that front when it comes to Tyler Booker. But then Brian Schottenheimer felt the need to go into a soliloquy, basically. He went into a long-winded answer about how Tyler Guyton is locked in. He's dealing with speed rushers. And I thought that was really cool because he didn't have to do that. And let's hear Tyler Guyton basically say like, yo, I wasn't good enough last year. The excuses are out. This is Tyler Guyton on how he needs to be better this year.
I had a lot to prove. I had a lot to work on. I didn't do too good last season. I want to do better. I want to be the guy that can be depended on.
How much of that was you were a college right tackle and you played left tackle, switched sides of the line? How much did that kind of impact your season, and how much more comfort do you have at that spot now?
I'm not going to make any excuses. I just didn't play as good as I needed to last year. I'm coming with a different attitude this year to become a better player.
Listen, you love to hear that stuff, but I want to pull back the curtains and I want to be honest about a few things, guys. So I want you guys to really listen and hear the words that are coming out of my mouth. Tyler Guyton played 9 games at right tackle at Oklahoma. Then he had to come into the NFL, to the NFC East, and play left tackle and replace a Hall of Fame left tackle. He's going to need time. He could do all these things in the off season. He could do all these things in the off season. He can work out as hard as possible. He already has great feet, but he could still struggle. One of the notes that Brian Schottenheimer said was Clayton Adams and Connor Riley have already put in some technique things to change up who he is. That's what they're doing. Did Mike Solari really care to change Tyler Guyton's technique? Or did he say, this is how I've always done it, this is how you're going to do it? No, the sign of a good coach looks at a guy and says, he can't do that. I have a drill that's going to clean him up, and we're going to specifically get him better at this. With Tyler Guyton, to me, it's just his hand usage and where he's punching. We're going to make sure that he understands this before we take even the next step. I think that Clayton Adams, when you hear him talk, he says it all the time. He says it all the time. I can't run certain things if I don't have the personnel to. That lets me know that he's going to look at Tyler Guyton and say, listen, I want to do certain things with him, but we have to make sure he has a baseline understanding of how to just play the position. It's exciting. It lets me know that Brian Schottenheimer is holding his staff accountable, and that's W's in the chat. That's a win in the chat for me. Tyler Guyton is developing. Tyler Booker is developing. And like I said, Tyler Booker is going to have to get better in the league. He's not a ready-made product. So both of these guys, you're hoping and praying that they do the right thing, but they both need development. I'm still all in on Tyler Guyton, and I hope that fans just exercise some patience. Number 4, multiple reports came out that Miles Sanders looked good. Had a few plays that you said, wow, he has some burst. Nick Harris mentioned that. The great Todd Archer mentioned that. And it'll be tough to tell with no pads on. But with Miles Sanders in his game is quickness. His game is elusiveness. He just didn't have it in Carolina. And behind a good Carolina offensive line where Chuba Hubbard was able to rush the ball well and do certain things, Miles Sanders just kind of fell off a cliff. Can he have a resurgence in Dallas? It'll yet to be seen, but I mean, I'll always say this. There will be people who poo-poo OTAs. I'm not one of those people. If you do anything positive in OTAs, I want to hear about it. Miles Sanders, W's in the chat for you. Number 5, and this is interesting, DaRon Bland is getting more and more snaps in the slot. Now, to me, that means a few things. That means that DaRon Bland is just working the slot because he's already really comfortable on the edge, or that means that Matt Eberflus has plans for DaRon Bland to play in the slot, especially with how much he used a guy like Kyler Gordon in the slot. He fit the run. He was, an eraser in the middle of the field. When I had on Cody Alexander, that was one of the things that he pointed out. He likes his edge corners, but he did some cool things with the personality he had in a guy like Kyler Gordon, blitzing him, taking away tight ends, doing all those types of things. Can DaRon Bland do some of that? It'll yet to be seen, but DaRon Bland is really good in the slot. I just like him more on the edge, especially with what we have on this roster right now. And I've said it, I'll say it, I'll continue to say it. I don't know when Trevon Diggs is going to play football again. It is what it is. So hopefully, they get this cornerback position ironed out. And does this open up an opportunity for a guy like Jalen Ramsey? I don't know. You guys tell me. 6, Kenneth Murray and Jack Sanborn were the starting linebackers in Matt Eberflus's defense. Does that mean much to me? Not really. I do think that Maris Luafau, when it's all said and done, will be the starter. But it's interesting that Kenneth Murray was one of the first players out there. Again, running back, linebacker, you won't know much until the pads are on, but this will be a note to watch. Number 7, and this will be the one that I'm sure when we all wake up in the morning, because I'm doing this on Thursday evening, when we all wake up in the morning, Dak is still developing. I guarantee you. Yahoo took the quote from Brian Schottenheimer and ESPN. We'll run with it to get clicks. No, guys, let's use context in what Brian Schottenheimer was talking about. He was talking about and asked about Joe Milton and how he's developing. And what he said was, yes, all the guys are still developing. And if you play quarterback in this league and you don't think that you can get better, you don't need to be playing quarterback. And he's absolutely right. Like, yo, quarterback is not a position where you could just sit and think that you're good just because you're good. No. Teams, defenses are doing so many things to stress these quarterbacks out. If you're a quarterback and you don't think that you can get better, you're not going to get better, especially a quarterback like Dak, because Dak doesn't have really like elite traits. Dak beats you with his mind. He beats you at the line of scrimmage. He beats you by knowing what the defense is going to do and then delivering the ball on time. That's how Dak wins. So I thought his answer was spot on. And guess what? Dak is still developing. Dak in quarterback years is entering his prime. And so to me, I thought that was a great answer. And I hope that us as a fan base is smart enough to know the difference between Brian Schottenheimer using that in context and ESPN and Yahoo and all these publications taking it out of context. Number 4, Joe Milton looks sharp. Talking to John Machota tonight, one of the things that he said was, you can definitely tell that Joe Milton is getting comfortable. No reporter, the stuff with Trey Lance was just like, it was a hope. Even myself, I'll raise my hand. Copium, hopium, whatever you want to call it. I always just wanted a quarterback that if Dak goes down, you have a chance. And listening to John Machota tonight and just really hearing Brian Schottenheimer talk about Joe Milton throwing George Pickens a post for a touchdown, guys, I'm telling you now, Joe Milton can play. And it's going to be interesting. You know, John made a great point being on with those guys tonight. It's like, yo, with the corners that the Cowboys are going to be playing in camp, Joe Milton can really build some momentum here, and it's going to be fun to see. But just the fact that he's already looking sharp, he's already talking the talk, he's already a part of this culture, I'm excited to see and hear more from Joe Milton. Number 9, no Micah, no problem. No Micah, no problem. Brian Schottenheimer was able to talk about it in a way that was like, guys, it's not a big deal. We know we want Micah around. We know that Micah will be here. And that's it. If people are going to make content out of this and, you know, do stuff, Micah is going to be a Cowboy. That's just the end of it. And so it's literally no Micah, no problem. It's nothing to stress about, guys. Trust me. But what is interesting is number 10, Kyer Elam with another pass breakup. So this is now 2 weeks in a row that he's gotten his name called. I just think that with what the Cowboys have done with getting George Pickens, don't get your hopes up. Like, when it comes to Ramsey, do not get your hopes up. Like I said, a name that I've been on record about, Mike Hilton. Names like that. I don't even think that, you know, Asante Samuel Jr. makes sense because he's a terrible tackler and he's small. But a guy like Mike Hilton, if you want him to play the slot and you wanted Deron Bland to play on the edge, or Mike Hilton has played on the edge as well, I just think those are the types of names that Cowboys fans need to get familiar with. But you gave Kyer Elam a deal. The staff likes him and the staff wants him to be great. Let's give it a chance. It could have been a scheme. It could have been, hey, you know, Buffalo has a really tough scheme under Sean McDermott. Maybe, just maybe, a change of scenery is good for Kyer Elam. He comes into Dallas. He plays good with a good, matter of fact, no, with Dante Fowler and Micah Parsons, a great pass rush. Let's hope he can get better. As always, it's your boy Foots the King. Thank you all for liking, sharing, subscribing. OTA's week 2 is in the books. Phase 3, I actually got some Tyler Guyton content coming up, but I wanted to hit this. This is my baby. You guys know I do my list, I do my breakdowns, I do my recaps, and I'm by myself today. But you guys love me, don't you? 40K says you guys love me, and I love you all. As always, thank you guys for liking, sharing, and subscribing. I cannot do this without you all. I gotta say that. The way that you guys have grown me, 40K. Somebody said, Foot, stop giving people flowers. You know what? I'm going to give y'all flowers. Peace.